Have you ever thought about what would it be like if we lived in a world where we treat each other equally? A world where everyone is accepted. A world where no one has to worry about getting treated unfairly because of their gender.
You all saw the famous photo from the weekend of Hillary looking so haggard and looking like 92 years old.
Breast implants, did you have them or not? Because that's all over the internet about you in mainstream media.
I think if you waterboarded Nancy Pelosi, she wouldn't admit to plastic surgery.
Or have to tell their kids that they should not listen to people who tell them they can't do it because they're either a boy or a girl.
What are you doing?
I'm crying.
Why?
I got bullied today in school.
Well, then you're not a man because men don't cry.
Gender inequality is one of the major problems in our world today, and by achieving gender equality, we believe that other social issues can be solved as well. We live in a world where gender inequality can be found anywhere. We are unaware of how even the smallest of things can affect how we think and who we become. Gender inequality has been in our world for many, many years. It has been a part of various cultures, and although it's hard to change how people think, we can at least try our best. It starts with the society and norms that we are living with. In a book by Iris Bonet called What Works? Gender Equality by Design, it is mentioned how we follow herding behavior, which is where we follow the behaviors of others, the herd, inform us to what is normal, appropriate, or beneficial to do, and we do likewise. If favoritism of boys or men is considered a norm, then it is accepted in the society, and no one wants to be the odd one that doesn't accept what everyone else does. When we are younger, we are influenced by the media and people's mindsets on how each gender should behave. We are told how to act and we share ideas with others, which affects their lives. Younger kids can easily be influenced, which is why media plays a major role as to why they think a certain way. Snow White cooks and cleans for 7 men. The princesses in these movies are usually the damsel in distress that needs their prince to save them. Cinderella was told how to be a princess and how she had to be graceful, use manners, and how she had to look beautiful.
I see now. Breathing gently, stepping lightly, smile brightly, nod politely. Never show a thing you feel inside. Glide! To be a princess is to always look your best. To be a princess is to never get to rest. Sit for a portrait, never squirm. Sleep on a mattress, extra firm. Speak and be clever, never at a loss for words.
Newer Disney movies are trying to improve this concept, but there are still some flaws.
I'm sorry, are you here to see me?
No, silly. I go here.
You go where?
Harvard. Law school.
You got into Harvard Law?
What, like it's hard? Oh my gosh, Warner.
Hello, everyone. I just want you all to know that I look forward to contributing to this news station's already sterling reputation.
I mean, come on, Ed, it's bullcrap. Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
Why don't you take out a missing persons ad? Try the yellow pages, I don't know.
You're a fake and a phony, and I wish I'd never laid eyes on you.
Whoa. 2014, women are smart now.
In the perfect family, the man goes to work while the woman stays at home, does housework, and waits for her husband to come home with dinner ready. That is a stereotypical idea of how every family should be, but it's not reality. Although some still believe in this today, our world has changed. People have dedicated their time to change social issues in our world, and thanks to them, people are starting to accept the idea of these changes. Now, more women are in the workforce, earning an income. It is more common to find a family where both the male and female are working. Even though there are some improvements, there are some flaws. Men are still expected to be strong and fit, while the woman should be a lady, have a toned stomach, and look like models. How kids are taught in classrooms influences them with thoughts and ideas, and these may stick with them until they are adults. Teachers and other peers may say things that encourage a mindset of dividing boys and girls.
Teachers often assign tasks along gender lines.
I need 4 strong boys to move the desks. Girls, sweep up the floor when the desks have been moved.
What do the boys think? And what do the girls think?
Why would you expect all the boys to have one answer and all the girls to have a different answer because of their gender?
Simple things like asking questions that are directed towards a specific gender affects how the students will think. In reality, girls can help carry the tables and boys could sweep if they wanted to. It's those subtle mistakes that we only notice if we pay attention.
Models may be used for campaigns with good intentions or messages, but not everyone meets the requirements of a model. This places pressure on people because they think that in order to have a body that is considered nice, they will have to look like the person on the ad. But at the same time, models are pressured as well because they have to worry about their appearance. They also have to face the people that would constantly point out their flaws and the things that they should change in order to be accepted.
Does your deodorant define your manliness?
Was it necessary to start a challenge where the genders are rivals of each other? Is this ad even necessary?
Does an ad have to name a specific gender and say that their product is not made for them? Lots of these ads are mostly from men's perspective and to please men. In 2015, a YouTube channel called Woman Not Object made a video as a campaign. It was showing how men saw women as a sexual object on lots of companies' ads. People should see each other as human, not as objects. Ads don't always tell the truth. This is not reality.
That I ever took, and it's also the very first time that I had worn a bikini. And I didn't even have my period yet. I know we're getting personal, but I was a young girl. This is what I looked like with my grandma just a few months earlier. Here's me on the same day as this shoot. My friend got to come with me. Here's me at a slumber party a few days before I shot French Vogue. Here's me on the soccer team and in V Magazine. And here's me today. And I hope what you're seeing is that these pictures are not pictures of me, they are constructions. And they are constructions by a group of professionals, by hairstylists and makeup artists and photographers and stylists and all of their assistants and pre-production and post-production. And they build this, that's not me.
In Iceland, women were being paid less than men. Although Iceland had laws, even including an Equal Pay Act, at the time, a woman still earned less than 60% of what a man earned. On October 24, 1975, being tired of this treatment, women in Iceland went on strike. Known as the Women's Day Off, 90% of women did not go to work, do chores, or raise their children. Many of them instead attended a rally at the capital of Iceland, Reykjavik. In 1983, the Women's List was created, which was a feminist party. The Women's List closed in 2000 after it merged with 2 other parties. On that day, flights were canceled because there was not enough flight attendants. Fish factories were shut down because most of the workers were women. There was no newspaper or telephone service. Men took their own children to work that day. Finally, Iceland now realized how important women were. The strike was a success. In 1976, Iceland's parliament passed a bill protecting gender equality, and in 1980, Vigdís Finnbogadóttir was elected, the first democratically elected female president in the world. In 2000, the law that manages parental leave was improved to allow 9 months of leave. Each parent has 3 months off, and those who have been working full-time earn 80% of their salary. Since 1908, women were allowed local suffrage and positions at their local office. In 1958, only 1% of all the council members in the entire country were women. However, in 1982, it went up from 4 to 13%, and by 2006, women made up 36% of Iceland's council members. A study done in 2006 showed that Iceland's wage gap is about 15.7%. In 2008, Iceland passed the Act of Equal Status and Equal Rights of Women and Men, which strengthened the protections of women's and men's rights, and in 2017, Iceland announced that they would close the gender pay gap by 2022. Today, Iceland is considered one of the best countries to be a woman and constantly ranks first on the World Economic Forum's Gender Equality Index. In Hawaii, women are paid about 83 cents for every dollar a man makes, and this gender pay gap in Hawaii won't close until 2051. Hawaii only has Constitution and Title IX protections for being a part of the United States and has Article 1 protections in the Hawaiian Constitution. Compare that to Hawaii. Hawaii only has Constitution, Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, and Title IX protections from being a part of the U.S., as well as Article 1, Section 3 in the Hawaiian Constitution. And even though Hawaii is one of the best states in gender equality, women are paid about 83 cents for every dollar a man makes, and this gender pay gap in Hawaii won't close until 2051. Although we've made a lot of progress, we need to keep going. Ratified in 1920, Amendment 19 of the Constitution guarantees the right to vote, regardless of a person's gender. It was introduced into Congress by Aaron A. Sargent in 1878. Sargent was a women's suffrage advocate who met and befriended Susan B. Anthony, a famous suffragist. Before this amendment, suffrage was undefined. Who could do it? Who couldn't do it? As such, many states thought that only white males could vote. Nearly all of the states did not allow women or minorities to vote. This changed with Amendment 15, which allowed anyone to vote regardless of their race, color, or previous condition of servitude. In a way, Amendment 19 is very similar to Amendment 15, except Amendment 15 regards race, not gender. Title IX still needs to be strengthened because there are still cases where people are treated unfairly due to their gender. In Hawaii, we have an additional amendment protecting gender equality. Article 1, Section 3 of the Hawaii Constitution is specifically dedicated to equal rights for both genders. It is very similarly worded to the unratified Equal Rights Amendment.
Title IX of the Education Amendments was signed into law by President Nixon in 1972. It is a federal law prohibiting discrimination based on sex in any federally funded education program or activity. This title was created to prevent any federal spendings on sex discrimination in educational programs and to protect everyone's rights. According to the book, What Works? Gender Equality by Design, there were less than 300,000 high school girls in the U.S. that had access to sports, which was before the title was passed. Today, more than 3 million girls participate. An American women's rights activist worked with the Congresswoman from Oregon and Senator from Indiana. The senator from Indiana didn't want to draw too much attention to the process of passing the title because she feared for the amount of people that may oppose it.
Gender equality can benefit everyone in the world. People can understand how we shouldn't discriminate each other based on their sex, where we can see everyone as humans. We are aware that this is a long process, but we want to educate others of what we are pushing for and hopefully gain support because this is an important issue. Although other countries may take longer to achieve gender equality due to the lack of money and resource, we could start in Hawaii and work from there.
I learned a lot about gender inequality and how people feel about this issue. From watching documentaries to teach-ins to going to different towns to ask people to support us by putting up our posters for our petition, I have become more involved and planned with pushing for a Gender Equality Act in Hawaii. All the research I've done and the people I've met encourage me to continue to push for gender equality in our world, starting first in Hawaii.
I really never thought that gender inequality was an issue in Hawaii anymore. I now realize that girls are still suffering from gender discrimination after I watched 3 documentaries on it and read a book about this issue. I was amazed at the data I saw, and it made me want to contribute to make a change. I've learned how we were brought up to have certain roles for each gender, and how we ignore the fact that we experienced gender discrimination since we were children. Going out and educating people really made me feel like I can change some people.
My opinion towards gender inequality was I was thinking that it doesn't affect me. But when I started researching about it, I realized that it can happen to me anytime. People shouldn't think gender inequality never going to happen to me. It is really hard to get people's attentions or let them aware of this issue. But once we started to get people's attention, we found out how open they are to support us with this issue.
I've learned a lot these past 6 weeks. Before we started this campaign, I didn't think gender equality was even a relevant issue anymore. I thought it was solved through the 19th Amendment and a lot of other laws. Women have it just as good as men these days. But since then, I've learned about the subtle and blatant sexism in our society, like in the media, the workplace, and in other places. I also never knew that there was not a single country where women are equal to men. Doing this campaign has really opened my eyes, in a way, to the many issues and solutions regarding gender equality.